Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, it's Tuesday, you know what that means. Tuesday Talks, that's right. So this week, I wanted to talk about a type of camping that's been on my bucket list for quite some time now. And I'm hoping to get that accomplished this year. But I understand with this type of camping, you need a particular set of gear and particular set of equipment. So we're gonna get into that in a few. We're gonna have a cigar, we're gonna relax, we're gonna try to get through this week. So let's just jump right into it, guys. Play that music. Well, guys, before we get into our conversation, we gotta have our cigar. It wouldn't be a Tuesday Talk without a cigar. And today we have an OG cigar. So when you think about cigar manufacturers out there, there's certain names that come to mind. For instance, Fuente or Cohiba. One of the cigar manufacturers that you think of potentially, if you're a cigar smoker, is Rocky Patel. Now, I understand that all of these cigar lines, they have different price points and they're all different tiers of cigars, but today's cigar is definitely a Rocky Patel cigar. It's called the Seed to Smoke, and it's by Rocky Patel. There's the RP right there. Let me get out of its wrapper for you to show you. There we go, guys. Seed to Smoke. And then you can see the Rocky Patel on the side. Again, a nice size cigar, a nice gauge. And gauge, when they talk about gauge, they talk about the thickness of the cigar. We have our cutter here somewhere. Here it is. Just a straight cutter. This particular cigar could have used a V-cut, but I grabbed the straight cut instead, so this works. We have our lighter. This is a unique lighter. I like this. It's like a Zippo lighter from back like my dad used to use back in the day, but the insert is a butane insert. So instead of using lighter fluid, it actually uses butane and just goes right in there. Looks like it's a little dried out, so I'm trying to mend it a little bit. So we're just gonna light it. There we go. So let's get into it. Now, in the intro, I talked about this particular type of camping that's always been on my bucket list to do. I've never done it. I understand that you need a particular type of equipment to get this done, but it's winter hot tent camping. I don't know what it is about it, but camping out in the cold when you have a wood burning stove in the tent to keep you warm, that just excites me, and I think that's pretty exciting. So I've been looking into this for a long time. There's all different types of tents, there's all different types of stoves. It's very difficult to determine which one has the best use for my application. Everybody has a different application. So if you're camping with other people, you need a larger tent, smaller tents. There's teepee tents, there's dome tents, there's all kinds. There's inflatable tents that you can actually still use a wood burning stove in, as long as it has the stove jack, which is the cut in the ceiling with that special material around it so it doesn't catch on fire. So recently I've been looking at different types of tents, and my goal is to hopefully purchase a hot tent with a stove. Now, I wanted to throw some of these questions out there to see if anybody has done this before. Have you used a tent? Now, I see some of the tents come with a floor covering and some don't. So they just pretty much connect to the inside of the tent to have a floor. I think that would come in handy, especially if there's snow. So, and it looks like the popular style is that teepee style tent, where it's got a pole in the middle, you got your hot stove on the side, and then you're sleeping on the other side of the teepee. I'm only looking for not a huge tent, something that's not too small. Now I hear one of the downfalls to this hot tent camping is the fact that when the wood burns out in the middle of the night, you have to get back up, you have to put more wood on the stove, you gotta stoke the stove, get the fire going. So that's one of the things. So you do get cold during the night. Now I did have some examples of some of the tents I looked at. I'm gonna throw them up here just for you guys to take a look. So take a look at these and we'll talk about them in a few. So as you can see, there's so many different types and variations for these hot tents. That's just the tent. None of these come with the stove. So when you wanna start doing this, you gotta purchase the tent and the stove. Let's get a step 2 here. Step 2, it's 87 degrees out, so it's pretty hot. So I just have some water. Again, this Hydro Flask is great because it holds a lot of water, but the downfall to it, it is very big. So it's hard to drink out of. Cheers, guys. So, yeah, so I looked at some of those and I'm leaning more towards a teepee style tent that has a floor. I just think that the floor would be useful, you know, especially if it's snowing. Because the hot tent, the heat is gonna melt all the snow around you and it's gonna get all muddy. So you would want some kind of floor, not even thinking about how it's going to be to clean up and store the tent. That's a whole nother conversation. Then I started looking into some of these stoves. Now, it's kind of cool thinking that, you know, you could have the stove in your tent and you could actually cook on the stove. So many of these different YouTubers that I watch out there do this. I think that's pretty cool. It's just another one of those things that draws me to this type of camping. So I'm hoping, again, looking at some tents and looking at some stoves that are out there, that, you know, we could get this done by, at one point this winter, at least try to get one winter camping in. That would be very cool. I know I do have a Mr. Buddy heater, and we still could do that inside of a hot tent if I don't buy the stove. But the stove really isn't that expensive. It's more of the tent that has the expense. So, and then again, you got to keep your firewood dry and dry storage. I have my firewood on the side of the house here, or back of the shed actually, not the house. Get rid of some of those ashes. So yeah, I think I don't know what it is about the hot tent camping that draws me to that. I just think it's cool. I think it's warming. So again, when I think of camping, that's the first thing that hits me, is that hot tent camping. And I've watched many different YouTubers who go up to Alaska, or, I mean, look at the Outdoor Boys. I mean, he's out there and he's always doing some sort of crazy camping. I mean, he's the mogul of YouTube. He has more followers and more viewers than anybody in this space. I mean, of course, there's Mr. Beast and there's other people like that, but in this space, in the camping outdoor space, he has a lot of followers. See, sometimes the cigar unravels. You see that? So if you just lick it, the natural pectin that's inside the cigar mends it, and you can mend it right back up a little bit. So it happens from the moisture drying out, it drying out. Still good. Sometimes it does canoe. So when a cigar canoes, that means it only burns half the cigar. The other half looks like a canoe. Not that good. So, but I'll keep you guys up to speed as to what we decide to do, and if I do decide to pull the trigger for that. This weekend I did plan on trying to do an backyard camp out, using that canopy again with that tent that connects to the canopy, but we had literally 7 full days of rain and my backyard is a swamp. It's finally starting to dry out, but unfortunately it's not the weekend anymore. So that being said, hopefully next weekend we'll try to get that done and we'll try to get that accomplished. But I hope you guys all have a great week. I'll leave you on this one note. Stay tuned. I appreciate you all. There's more to come. I have some things in the works. We have a couple new subscribers, so welcome. We appreciate you all. Welcome to the family. And if you guys have any questions, comments, if you do have gone hot tent camping, or if you have a hot tent set up, throw me a message in the comments or throw me a regular message. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to see what kind of gear you guys are using when you're going out and doing this. So have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you this weekend. Take care, guys.